let's continue our analysis of the MLB trades that occurred in July with the Anaheim Angels. Another team that, in my opinion, needed some offense outfielders, which is why they traded Trumbull and Hamilton throughout the years. I don't know why they did that. And even Randall Grichuk, which, if you ask me, they're killing themselves for that. Anyhow, who did they acquire? First, they got David Murphy from the Indians. They also got David DeJesus. Didn't think that guy was still playing, but they got him anyways. And they got Shane Victorino from the Red Sox. If you remember Shane, it's going to be all right. Yep, that guy. He's on the Angels now. So they got those three players to help with the outfield because their outfield, the Angels, has not been that great. To be honest, the offense isn't that amazing. You basically have Pujols, Trout, and Calhoun, and that's kind of it. But anyways, they traded for those players. The Angels, I think, are still in trouble regardless because how do I put this? They don't have much of a pitching staff. I think Wilson just got hurt. Weaver's recovering from an injury. Shoemaker is bad. He was a one-hit wonder. And Garrett Richardson's not pitching that well. And he's the only good guy on your team. So they're in trouble. And they just got swept by the Astros in 4 games. I think they also lost today they also got swept by the Dodgers. They've lost so many games in a row. And the Astros just picked up. The Astros keep winning. The Angels keep losing. I think they're in a lot of trouble. They have some problems. I knew they would be anyway. I'm not surprised by any of this. I knew the Angels were going to be a bad team, and they're having problems right now. If the Rangers just played a little bit better, they'd be ahead of them as well. But unfortunately, the Rangers stink equally as much. So Astros look pretty good right now. Oh, and as a side note, they also picked up Connor Gillespie. I didn't make a big deal about it because it's Connor Gillespie. Although I will say they got him because David Freese hurt himself. I think he broke a finger or something. I don't know. So they got a third base budget guy to help them out. So that's another guy they don't have, David Freese, who was actually having a pretty good year, considering last year he wasn't that great. But this year he actually was having a pretty good power year. Oh well. Alright, the next team to talk about is the Kansas City Royals. They made a lot of moves, and I'm happy for them. And I'll explain why in a second. They picked up Johnny Cueto from the Reds for 3 top pitching prospects in Finnegan, Lamb, and Cody Reed. And some people are saying that the Royals won this deal because the 3 pitchers they gave up to the Reds they're great, but they're not amazing. I'm still happy the Reds traded Cueto. I was so concerned they were going to hold on to him. They didn't. They traded him. They got 3 top pitching prospects. Very good job by Chocolate. I'm very impressed. He actually was able, and I'll show later on, he actually was able to trade all of his pitchers who were going to have the free agency next year in Latos, so Simon, Cueto, and Leake. They're all gone. They all got prospects for them. And so far, he's done a good job with the prospects. I mean, we got Eugenio Suarez and Anthony DeSclafani from the Marlins, Suarez from the Tigers, and they've been playing pretty well. So I think he knows what he's doing with these pitchers. So very good. The Royals needed an ace pitcher. Up till now, they had Volquez as their ace. They had Chris Young, Duffy, maybe Guthrie. They didn't really have a very strong in return of Yordano Ventura, but he's not pitching that well. He's getting in fights, though. He's good at that. But until this point, they didn't have a good ace pitcher, so they got Cueto. Very good deal. They also got, from the Athletics, Ben Zobrist. That was a good deal as well because they just lost Alex Gordon to injury. They needed someone who can play basically anywhere in the baseball infield and outfield, and they got him Ben Zobrist. Very good deal, and that guy's good. That was good thinking. So the Royals did a good job. They're already a playoff contending team. They're running away with this division. These 2 guys are to help them put them over the top and get them further into the playoffs like last year, get them to the World Series and win it, and they got the players to do so. Although Cueto was not sharp in his first start with the Royals, I am confident, though, that he will do better. It was against the Blue Jays, so what do you expect? The Nationals are pretty quiet. They got, Papelbon. Maybe you heard of him. He's a good closer from the Phillies. And he's going to go with Drew Storen. And they're going to be very good in the back end. They got Papelbon. They didn't do much, the Nationals. They feel like they got enough going as is. My thoughts were if they didn't have so many injuries to their pitching staff, they were going to trade one of them for some kind of asset later on. like maybe Fister or something to get a hitter or something, because they're like Worth and Rendon and Span. They keep going on the injury list and off. They're not consistently playing with them. If they were, they'd be doing a lot better. But because they're not, they keep losing out to the Mets and other teams. So they get a Papelbon kind of closer guy, and hopefully it helps them between him and Story. And they got a stronger bullpen. Hopefully we don't get a situation like last year where it's against the Giants. They're winning 1-0 and they blow the save. That was embarrassing. Anyhow, they didn't do that much in the Nationals. I still think they're a strong team. Just stay healthy, guys. That's so hard. The Rangers did probably the stupidest trades in the entire trade deadline. Well, that's not true. Maybe not the stupidest, but they were up there. They got Cole Hamels and Jake Diekman. They gave up, let's see, Jared Eichmann, Alec Asher, Matt Harrison, Jorge Alfaro, and Nick Williams. Basically, all the best prospects the Rangers had to offer. The Phillies did great this entire thing. They got so many good players. They got what they wanted. All the top prospects for Cole Hamels. The Rangers got an old 31-year-old lefty who I just don't know what they're planning to do. I've heard things that they're going to have him, and they're going to have Darvish and Holland, and they think they're going to go for it next year. But those guys are getting older. Hamels, he's not that good. He was good last year, okay? I won't deny that. This year, not so much. As he gets older and older, you're going to see it not being that great. And the Rangers they went full stupid. That's all I'm going to say. Full stupid in getting Cole Hamels. The trade was absolutely stupid. The Rangers were better off waiting for the offseason, signing players like Zimmerman and Samardzija and Fister, Price, Cueto, Latos. I don't know. What they did made no sense. That's all I'm going to say. It was bad. It was just bad. And the Rangers are not going anywhere anyways because they don't know what the heck they're doing at all. All right, Dodgers. I mentioned them before, and Dodgers, in my opinion, besides the Astros and the Royals and Blue Jays, which I'll talk about later, they, in my opinion, did a really good job. They had one major problem, and that was pitching, and they got it. They picked up Matt Latos, Alex Wood, Michael Morris, Bronson Arroyo, Luis Ayala, Jim Johnson, and Jose Perez. By the way, Perez is a top prospect of the Braves, so that was a good pickup. And the Marlins got Brigham, Victor Arroyo, Kevin Guzman, and salary relief for Latos and Michael Morse. The Braves got Hector Olivia, Paco Rodriguez, Zach Bird, and the Marlins' competitive balance draft pick, whatever that means. Anyways, good job for the Dodgers. They now have 5 solid pitchers, including Latos and Wood. Wood they'll have for a long time, and Arroyo they might have next year to pitch as well, so good depth. They're going to have a lot of pitching the years to come and young pitching, and they got good prospects too from the Braves. They did a good job, and Jim Johnson's going to help out with Jansen in the bullpen. Good job, Dodgers. You actually addressed your issues, not made new ones. The Giants are pretty quiet. They picked up Mike Leake from the Reds. They traded Melela and Adam Duvall, and that was good for the Reds because they got a top pitching prospect, and Duvall is a pretty good hitter. And the Giants get another pitcher because they're having some issues with their rotation, so Leake's a good stabilizing factor in that. He's not an ace, but he's been pitching like one the past few starts, I should say. And the Giants took advantage of it, and they got him for the rest of the season. So we'll see how that goes. Giants are playing well, and maybe they'll be in the mix. Who knows? I mean, they are in the mix. I mean, they're going to get in the playoffs. They seem to be going that direction. The Padres weren't sellers during the deadline or the whole month. It surprised everybody. They didn't trade Upton. They even pranked having Upton hugged up other players, which is kind of funny. But they didn't trade him. They didn't trade Kimbrel. They didn't trade Shields, Ross, Cashner. Nobody. Instead, they picked up Mark Rezemskinski, or as Tony La Russa calls him, Rebzev. They got him from the Indians to help with the bullpen. The Padres, I think, are going to see if they can pick it up and get back in the playoff hunt. Although, unlike the American League, the National League wildcard hunt is so tight and so many good teams, I don't see the Padres getting back in the mix. But maybe they do. Orioles picked up Geraldo Parra from the Brewers, so they just need like an extra hitter or something. I think the Orioles are in trouble anyways. They don't have their pitching staff isn't that great, and the hitting is good, mostly with Chris Davis, Jones, and Machado, but I'm not saying it. I'm just not saying it. Chicago Cubs made 2 decisions. They weren't dramatic. They picked up Dan Herron, and they also got Tommy Hunter. And the thought is the Cubs are going to wait till next year to actually go for something big. Dan Herron is just there because this is basically what happened. They went to Dallas Beeler and said, you can't pitch 5-6 innings. Hey, Herron, can you pitch 5 or 6 innings? Okay, good. You got the job. That's how it happened, and that's why they got him. The next player, it's not them, but the Yankees, they picked up Dustin Ackley. Not a dramatic pickup, but they got him. He's not a terrible hitter. It's something. I don't know. Twins got Kevin Jepson to help the bullpen out because if you didn't know, Glenn Perkins is having problems lately closing out, so they figure they need somebody else to come in there and do his job. We'll see if Kevin Jepson is the answer. Also, with Jepson leaving not the Toronto Blue Jays, but the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, I think they realize that they're not going anywhere.